Our next to last Spark Talk presenter this morning is Rich Lehrer. He is the Director of Academic Innovation and Design at the Dawson School at IU. No, just at the, okay. And his presentation is Inspiring Youth to be Agents of Change Through Client-Based Learning.
Great, thank you, Kate. No slides, but I do have props. Great, so could you give me a thumbs up if you are involved in K-12 education in some respect? Okay, great. You can put your thumbs down, thank you. So perhaps you, like I, being in education, have had ample opportunities to reflect on your own education. And when I reflect on my schooling, I am struck by one thing, and that is how rarely my teachers took time to explain to us why we were learning the things that we were learning, and how rarely we had a chance to apply our learning in a way that felt meaningful or important to us. So when I became a teacher in 1989, I resolved to change that. And I spent 24 years teaching middle school science and made repeated attempts to try to get my students to understand why they were learning the things they were learning. And I made a commitment that if I couldn't explain why they needed to know something, then we wouldn't learn it. And that actually went pretty well for 24 years. And then in 2013, I experienced 10 seconds, I call it the 10 seconds that changed my life, that completely made me rethink my relationship to education. This involves my son, Max. Max was born in 2010, awesome kid, and he was born with a condition called symbrachydactyly, which meant that the fingers on his right hand didn't develop. This turned out to not be such a big deal, and we certainly were not looking for devices or prosthetics for him. But in 2013, I saw a video on how you could use something called a 3D printer to make a prosthetic for a child. And I just saw that video and I thought that would make an amazing project for my 8th grade science students. So we created a club. We called it the Build a Hand for Max Club. And over 4 months, we created a prosthetic for Max. And then when we brought him into the class, and in 10 seconds, he put on that device and started using this device that my students had created to start picking up things, I had a classic textbook epiphany, where I saw very clearly that there was this new generation of tools and tech approaches that could allow kids to create highly functional solutions to real-world problems and benefit other people. And this led to many things. It was as if I was a soda bottle that had been shaken for 24 years and then somebody just loosened the cap and I experienced this explosion of ideas about how to bring more authenticity into kids' lives. And I became deeply involved in the world of 3D printed prosthetics and using them in schools, and then eventually became a little disillusioned with that movement, different story. But I had other ideas. I came up with an idea called the Problem Bank, where a school could become a repository of authentic problems for kids to solve, and people from the community would put problems into the Problem Bank, and kids would draw them out and then solve the problem. And I won an InfyMaker Award in 2017 for that idea, and that pushed me to take that work outside of schools. We had kids working with senior citizens, developing assistive devices with seniors and for seniors. And over the last couple of years, this idea has really started to crystallize for me in something that I'm calling client-based learning. And essentially what that is kids leveraging the incredible potential for technology to create highly effective solutions to problems. And they would then work with people in their community who serve as clients, and they design with and for those clients. That brings a real authenticity to the work that kids are doing, and when kids feel that what they're doing is authentic and has purpose, then they get a sense that what they're doing actually matters, and when kids feel like what they do matters, they start to care about it, and when kids care about something, then they are engaged, and when kids are engaged, you can teach them anything. In the real world, client relationships are very unidirectional, from designer to client. But that's not the case in schools. When one student finds a problem and solves that problem and then publicly shares not only the thing that they solved and the solution, but they also share the process, I have found that to be incredibly inspiring. And when, as in our school, you have dozens and dozens of kids doing that, and you get this ripple of inspiration, then you are on your way to creating a community of true change makers. I've actually experienced this in my own life personally. So my son Max was the recipient of countless designs and devices designed for him. And then somewhere along the line, he internalized this, that problems are there to be solved and there are tools to solve them. So he started to solve problems in both his life and other people's lives. So he created these little Monopoly houses when he was 6 years old to replace those that we had lost. And he created this bracket for a principal at a school to hold a power strip. And he created this poker chip holder because we live in Vegas, and of course he did. And then he created this Pinocchio nose that was very amusing for him being an 8th grade boy, but it helped his drama teacher in a performance of Shrek where Pinocchio needed a nose. To me, this feels like how education should be. Not the things that he's creating, but this idea that every kid deserves the right to be a change maker. And I am so excited about this work. I actually think there should be classes in school called change making that go alongside math and science, English. I am excited about the work that we've been doing, excited about the arc of the story. I'm excited about where we are. I'm also excited about the future of this work. We've begun to dabble in the use of AI, both in the brainstorming phase of kids in the design process, but also to generate images to share with their clients and then get easy feedback on it. If you were somebody who raised your thumb at the beginning of this talk, or you're interested in AI and the way that AI can be used in the design process, I encourage you to seek me out over the next 2 days. I cannot guarantee that you will experience any textbook epiphanies, but if my life was changed in 10 seconds, who knows what a 5-minute conversation could do. Thank you so much.